Hiya, welcome to Darren in the Studio. Thanks for swinging by for another video. First things first, before I go any further, I wanted to thank everybody for their kind comments regarding my last video, in which we spoke about hearing loss, really, and how I listen to music and how hearing loss has affected my life since a child. If you haven't checked out that video, then check it out. It's called Can You Hear Me? And like I said, I got a lot of really positive comments and a lot of good feedback from that particular video, so we thank you for that. This video is a little bit influenced by recent events of trying to land a craft on the moon. I don't mean me. I've not been in the back garden with a rocket ship or anything like that, although it would be a good idea. No, recently a team of not astronauts, but sort of spacey people did their best to get a craft onto the moon. Sadly, it didn't work out. It sort of missed its sort of sling shot, I think. Sort of like a gravity slingshot that sends it on its way. Hopefully they'll sort that problem out and they'll be able to do it again. It'd be great to see somebody landing on the moon again all these years later. Well, it's 1969, you know, it was the year I was born, so it's like 40, nearly 45 years ago that that happened. It'd be good to see it again. So like I say, this video is inspired by that, and also inspired by the wonderful craft that is currently on the planet Mars, the Perseverance craft, which landed in February of 2021, and it's been beaming back live sort of HD footage, film and photographs of the Mars surface. And if you get a chance, check that out online. It's really fascinating. I think if you go to the NASA website, you can see pictures via that. So this video is all about space. So what I've done, I've gone through my collection and chosen 10 albums which have a space feel to them, and you'll know what I'm talking about as we go along. All these albums have either got really spacey sort of covers or have songs on them that deal with space. And like I said, I've chosen 10, and I thought it was going to be really difficult to find album covers and things like that, artists that has a sort of spacey feel. But in the end, I think I had about 25-30 albums, and I've had to sort of get it down to 10. So of course, if you can think of a space-related album cover or song or artist that I've not chosen in my 10, then do let us know in the comments and all that kind of stuff. You know, we love to hear your comments. Get your comments here at the studio, and I do my very best to reply to all of them. So let's kick off. They're all in alphabetical order as usual. We're kicking off with this chap. You might know this guy, quite a popular singer, David Bowie. This is David's 1976 best of Changes One Bowie. This is a nice little 1983 repress on the RCA label, a German repress. Of course, I think this is probably one of the greatest hits albums of all time, and that's before we even got into the 80s, you know, when he was having massive hits like Let's Dance and things like that. I mean, the songs on here: John, I'm Only Dancing, Changes, Ziggy Stardust, Suffragette City, Gene Genie, Diamond Dogs, Rebel Rebel, Young Americans, Fame, Golden Years, and of course the track that I've chosen this for, right at the top there, Space Oddity, which has to be, I think, the greatest song about a spaceman. There's also sort of connotations with drugs and things like that, of course, but on the surface, nice little song. Of course, David Bowie did quite a few sort of space-related songs, of course, Life on Mars and such like, but I thought I'd choose this one because, for me, Space Oddity is the greatest space-related song. David Bowie, Changes One Bowie, 1976. Next up, someone who is known as the Spaceman, the original Spaceman. And again, an artist who I could have chosen quite a number of album covers and things to show for you, but I've decided to go for this. This is Ace Frehley, he of Kiss fame, of course. This is Ace Frehley's Spaceman album. I think this was what, 2016, something, no, 2018 this came out. Good album this, it's alright. I do like Ace Frehley's solo work. He recently made a comment which, as a Kiss fan, I didn't like very much. He said that quite a lot of Kiss fans aren't very intelligent. Well, you know, we've continued to buy Ace Frehley's material since he left Kiss, so maybe he should just shut his mouth. Anyway, Ace Frehley, the Spaceman album. This is out on the E1 label, SPV Records, produced by Ace Frehley. Got a lot of good songs on here. One of these was written by Gene Simmons. Your Wish Is My Command was written by Gene Simmons on here. Without You I'm Nothing, Rocking with the Boys, Wish Is My Command, Bronx Boy, Pursuit of Rock and Roll, Mission to Mars, I wanna Go Back, Off My Box, it probably is, Off My Back, and Quantum Flux, which was like a carry-on of his Fractured Mirror series. Ace Frehley, Spaceman, the original Spaceman, it has to be said. This is a nice sort of inner sleeve it's got on here, because it shows his other sort of spacey album covers here with the rocket, and also this one, the originals volume 1. This is a beautiful, on the surface you just think this is standard black vinyl, but if you get it in the light, you know, you'll see this in the light. It's a really nice purple vinyl. You can't see it, can you? No. Anyway, Ace Frehley, who has a new album coming out next week called 10,000 Volts, and although he said very unkind things about Kiss fans, I have ordered it, so we'll be featuring that at the end of our on our sort of January 24 roundup. Next up, I could not feature this particular recording. This is the London Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Sir Adrian Boult. This is The Planets, Holst's The Planets. This is a nice little Hallmark album. I don't know what the year is on this. It's probably, I mean, originally 1914. It was originally composed by Holt, and this is one of those albums which I wanted for ages and ages and ages. I think I picked this up in a charity shop a few years ago for next to nothing, and it's one of those albums which I think everybody should own. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not a massive fan of classical music, but I do like this album. It's quite dramatic in parts and sort of peaceful in parts, you know, as it goes through the various stages of the work. Holt's planets, Mars, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Good stuff. Holt's The Planets. Next on our trip to space, here's someone who came back in recent years, and sort of in the last sort of 20-30 years or so, this particular gentleman has been known more for his production work, but he was absolutely huge in the 70s and 80s with a band called ELO. Of course, I'm talking to Jeff Lynn, and this is Jeff's 2000 and I can't read that, 2000 and 2015, I think, album, Alone in the Universe. And this is one of those ones which changes as you move it around. I forget what they call them. You see that? It looks better in the flesh. Nice little hype sticker on the top. 10 brand new songs from legendary songwriter, producer and leader of ELO. Alone in the Universe. Jeff Lynne's ELO, it's labelled as. But like I said, it's more or less a solo album because he does all the work on it, apart from some background vocals and a musician who's doing some percussion. Apart from that, he plays everything. Drums, guitars, keyboards, vocals, everything. Jeff Lynne's ELO, Alone in the Universe, and everything that ELO ever did was kind of spacey. Nice little depiction in the inside there of the spacecraft itself. ELO, Jeff Lynne's ELO, Alone in the Universe. Next up, an album cover that I really couldn't pass up on this particular trip. This is a budget album that came out possibly in the 80s. No, 1979. I'm always a year or two out, aren't I? This is on the K-Tel label, and this is the best of ELO, Out of This World. ELO's, not ELO, Out of This World, Moody Blues. Best of. The reason I say ELO with Out of This World is because there is an ELO album called Out of This World, I think it's called, all over the world. So there's a little bonus for you. But yeah, Moody Blues, Out of This World. Some great tracks on here. Nights in White Satin, of course. Tuesday Afternoon, Stepping in a Slide Zone, I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band, Eyes of a Child, you know the songs. Like I say, on the K-Tel label, which I always thought did some great releases. You know, they did stuff like Axe Attack and The Best of the 20th Century Boy from T-Rex and stuff like that in the 80s. I always thought they were a great record label. I think they were based in Ireland. I might be wrong on that. But this is a nice little cleanish copy, a classic sort of K-Tel label there. And the cover on here, it doesn't say. Usually with something like that, you get accreditation of who actually took the picture, but it doesn't say on here. Sleeve design by the John Constable Design Company. Not B Constable, surely. Out of This World, the best of the Moody Blues. I nearly said ELO again. Next up, here's a record that I've shown on the channel previously when we were talking about Queen and the solo projects of the Queen members. This is Roger Taylor's first solo album. This is Fun in Space, which is a really great album. This used to be rare as rocking horse, you know what, rare as hen's teeth. Roger Taylor's Fun in Space. I love this album. No violins is great on here. It's just a great album. Airheads, Fun in Space itself, Let's Get Crazy. Roger Taylor's first album. Now Roger, on this album, as far as I am aware, plays all the instruments, all the guitars, certainly the drums and all the vocals. Roger Taylor's Fun in Space. This is a nice little EMI original copy. I think this was early 80s. 1981, this album. Nice little inner sleeve as well. In there. Show you the record. Really nice bespoke labels on here. You see a picture of Roger there and a picture of the alien on the other side. Roger Taylor's Fun in Space. Of course, Roger Taylor had lots of success with his band The Cross, where he played guitar in The Cross and somebody else played the drums. And of course he's had many a good solo album since this came out in 1981. Roger Taylor, fun in space. Next up, a production, an album which is so spacey. You can't leave this one out. This is Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. This is the 2 CD reissue of it, which probably came out in the sort of late 90s or something like that. I can't remember when this album actually came out. I'm thinking 78. It is 1978. I got one right. Lots and lots of great people were all featured on this. Of course, Richard Burton is the narrator on here. Julie Covington, David Essex, Justin Hayward, Phil Lynott, Joe Pendridge, Chris Thompson. An incredible star-studded cast on Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. It's also a stage production now, and it's been a movie a few times. I don't think I've ever seen a movie version of it though. Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. It's, like I say, this is the CD reissue of it. Came out, I think it originally came out on double vinyl. Good stuff. This is a nice little original CBS CD issue of it. Very spacey. Next up, it's ZZ Top. When the famous car went out into space on their Afterburner album. Here it is. What a great album cover that is. Afterburner from ZZ Top. This is, I can't read that. I can't read that. It's far too small. But this has got a nice little inner on it that gives you the other albums that are available as well. Nice little original. I'm guessing 90s on this, but I might be wrong. I am. It's 1985, Darren. On one side you get the track listing, and on the other side, nice little bespoke label with the car and a planet. ZZ Top's Afterburner. Of course, they used the car for many an album cover theme, and even Billy Gibbons's latest album, Hardware, features a car not dissimilar to this one here. Nice little depiction of the car out in space. Afterburner from ZZ Top. Next up, here's a compilation album which I got when I was a kid, and unfortunately it went astray, and I always said to myself, if I ever saw that record again, I would pick it up, because I remembered it so much. It was a record when I was a kid that I used to play all the time, and I mean all the time. And this is very spacey. Check this out. This is on the Ronco label, another budget record label. This is Space Tracking. Space Tracking 76. I think it came out in 1975. It did. And a lot of people on here. Bay City Rollers, the Glitter Band, the Drifters. Someone called Gary Glitter will smooth over that. Linda Lewis, Shawaddy Waddy, and others. One of my favourite soul tracks, sort of a northern soul classic, is on here, and that's Al Wilson's The Snake, and I still love that song to this day. A lot of good music on this, to be fair. Star Tracking. I picked this up at a second-hand shop probably a couple of years ago, and like I say, I used to own this as a child, and what I'll do, I'll put my hand over there. That's better, isn't it? I used to own this as a child, and it's I think it got damaged and I threw it away and all that. You know what it's like when you're a kid. I didn't look after it, and I always said if I saw it again, I would definitely pick it up again, because I love this illustration of the astronaut on the front there rocking out on some sort of planet. Just track listing on the back there if you want to pause the video and have a look. Ronco, just like K-Tel. And it has sort of just a few labels. Original recordings as featured on the Bell and the Arista labels. Really nice illustration. I love that illustration. That's it without all the thingies on it. There you go. Star Tracking 76. 20 star-bursting original hits. Next up, and finally, I thought I'd show you this. This is the BBC's 1969 review. Originally taken based on the BBC Radio 1, BBC Radio 1969 review, broadcast in the 10 o'clock programme on Radio 4, December the 31st, 1969. A current affairs production by John Murray and Duncan Jones, narrated by Derek Cooper. And the reason I've chosen this is because it heavily features the moon landings in 1969, and it takes you, there's a picture of the crew there, and it has a lot of the original recording of them touching down, and you know, one small step for mankind, all that sort of stuff is on here. The thing I like about this record is, and this is an original, and I think it's on the BBC label. They weren't always on the BBC label. I think Philips often put them out as well, but this is on the BBC label. Nice little original BBC labels there. And on the inside, and this would have been made available to the general public, but also it would have been made available probably free of charge to schools for education reasons. And it's got all the track details on there on this separate sheet, and this light doesn't like this separate sheet at all. Bleaches it out, and it tells you what all the tracks are. The space story is still a race in January 1969 when the Russians announced the launch of Soyuz 4 and 5 American astronauts. Here their horoscopes in the Apollo craft. It's really, really great. If you ever get a chance and you see this particular album, do check it out. Or any of these. I've got quite a few of these. I might do a special video on my BBC review albums, because I love the history of not just history itself, but the way broadcasting companies and people who recorded actually, you know, captured the voices from the past. A review of 1969 featuring the moon landings. I wonder if they will ever make it back onto the moon. If you see a UFO, by the way, don't scare it away. Don't scare it off, because I'm sure they're here to pick me up. I'm positive of it. Anyway, until next time, make sure you can like, subscribe, hit the bell and all that kind of stuff. You know the deal by now. And watch one of the other videos if you haven't already. And leave your views and your comments. Love to hear your views and comments. Look after yourselves, and we'll see you again in the studio for another video. Until that time, we'll see you soon. Ta-da.